Hello and welcome to Runneeti, brought to you by Bad Brick 7 and CricTracker. A big day today, one that has started rather early, particularly for people who are tuning in for this show, but then one that's crucial that will decide who the remaining two semi-finalists are. So everything to play for in this group two. Triple headers today, first of which is South Africa versus the Netherlands. And a crucial clash because that would play a huge role in deciding whether South Africa progress or not, considering the fact that the remaining two games, if they turn out to be something, something crazy turns out in those games as well. Now we've got Kobus Olivier and Habibul Bashar to discuss about the first game at the moment, and the first game is between, of course, South Africa and the Netherlands. Kobus, tell us honestly, we'd not reveal it to anybody. It would remain a secret here. Only my producer, you, Habib, and I would know the answer. Which team are you cheering for? The Netherlands, you coached them early on, or South Africa, the country that you belong?
Well, I must say tonight it is a bit of a toss-up because you've got in the Netherlands team, you've got four players that's South Africans. You've got Roelof van der Merwe, Colin Ackerman, Brandon Glover, and Stefan Meiburg. And then you've also got Gary Kirsten and Ryan Cook as part of the coaching staff. Ryan Cook being the head coach, son of Jimmy Cook. So it's a very South African flavor to that Dutch team, but. I'll be honest, I am cheering for South Africa. Although I've got Dutch cricket will always be close to my heart, having been the national youth coach there in 2000 to 2002, and I've always followed Dutch cricket and I cheer them on. But tonight I'm hoping for South Africa to secure their place in that semi-final on Thursday against New Zealand.
सो विन विन सिचुएशन एक्चुअली फॉर कोबस हियर. बट अभी एक चीज तो स्पष्ट है कि साउथ अफ्रीका के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से वो रेप्लिकेट करना चाहेंगे वो इंटेंसिटी जो पहले 3 मैचेस में दिखा है, बिकॉज पिछले मुकाबले में पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ एक ब्लिप देखने को मिला.
मेरे ख्याल से साउथ अफ्रीका अभी और कोई टीम को कोई चांस नहीं देगा. आई मीन इस मैच में कोई चांस नहीं देगा. आई मीन Netherlands had a good tournament. They played well in first round. They had few good games, but I think we are in a stage in the tournament where top teams are more prepared now. They are playing. They are not going to give any chances to other teams. Definitely, Netherlands has got a very good bowling side, but their batting is struggling since the starting of the tournament. And South Africa, though they had a bad game in last game, but they still inside. So I think today they know that. I mean, its equation is clear now. They have to go to semi-finals. So I think they'll be more prepared. And as far as I know, weather is fine, so there'll be no issue with the weather. So I think South Africa, will go through, and they will not give any chances to Netherlands, definitely.
All right, as far as our panelists are concerned, South Africa overwhelming favorites. Let's have a look at how the two teams have fared when they've clashed before. South Africa versus Netherlands. Now, that happened way back in 2014 when South Africa emerged as the winner. That was again a World Cup clash, but that too turned out to be a narrow, a tense, nervy affair where South Africa sealed a 6 runs win. बट यहाँ पे जो समीकरण है वो काफी स्पष्ट है. अभी भारतीय टीम टॉप पर है, उनके पास 6 पॉइंट्स है. लेटर इन द डे भारतीय टीम जिम्बाब्वे के खिलाफ मुकाबला खेलेगी. अगर भारत को मुकाबला जीतता है, टॉप पर अपनी जगह बरकरार रखेगा और सेल कर जाएगा सेमीफाइनल्स में. अभी जो पहला मुकाबला है उसमें साउथ अफ्रीका, उनके पास अभी 5 पॉइंट्स हैं. 2 मुकाबले में जीत हासिल की, एक बारिश के कारण रद्द हुआ तो 1 पॉइंट मिला. अगर साउथ अफ्रीका ये मुकाबला जीतता है तो उनके पास 7 पॉइंट्स हो जाएंगे. भारत अगर शाम का मुकाबला जीत जाता है तो भारत के पास 8 पॉइंट्स हो जाएंगे. उसके साथ भारत टॉप पर रहेगा. साउथ अफ्रीका सेकंड पोजीशन टीम के तौर पर क्वालिफाई कर जाएगा. बीच में जो 2 मुकाबले हैं, जो सैंडविच मुकाबला है पाकिस्तान और बांग्लादेश के बीच में, वहां इंटरेस्ट तब बन पाएगा या फिर भारत अपना मुकाबला गवाता है या साउथ अफ्रीका पहला मुकाबला गवाती हो, तो वहां पे गुंजाइश बन सकती है, खास करके पाकिस्तान के लिए. बांग्लादेश के केस में नेट रन रेट बहुत खराब है, तो अगर भारत हारता भी है तो भी कुछ खास फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. इंपॉर्टेंट होगा बांग्लादेश के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से कि पहले मुकाबले में कैसी स्थिति आती है. Kobus, now talking about the Netherlands. Of course, in the previous game, they handed a loss to Zimbabwe. They'd want to prove, they'd want to sign off on that buoyant note as well.
Yes, for the Netherlands, this is I mean, they've got nothing to lose tonight. They've got everything to play for. They're on the big stage. I mean, Adelaide is one of the most picturesque grounds in world cricket. And for these guys, they know probably tomorrow they're on the plane back to Amsterdam. So they've got all to play for tonight. And uh, I still can't see them winning, but I think they will be absolutely determined to put in a good performance tonight. They haven't had a good tournament. They've only won one out of their four group matches up to now against Zimbabwe, and they would feel they're a better side than this. I totally sahikaha with Bahar that Bashar said quite rightly that their batting has let them down. And I think tonight will be the night for these guys to, or this morning. Sorry, I'm losing time here with the early morning play. But it will be a time for their batsmen to put their hand up today and not just rely on Max O'Dowd, but for Colin Ackerman, especially the leader. Bus would love to sign off this World Cup with some runs. So I believe the Dutch are up for it tonight, and they're going to come out all guns blazing and play a kind of a carefree cricket tonight.
We knew Kobus to be a teacher. He's a quick learner as well. So that needs to be too. हबीब हम जिक्र ऑफ कोर्स कर रहे थे नेदरलैंड्स का कितना इम्पोर्टेंट उनके लिए ये प्लेटफॉर्म है उनका जो जज्बा है वो सामने आता है बैस दे लीड्स उन्हें इंजरी हुई थी हारिस रॉफ की वो डिलीवरी उन्हें लगी थी और उसके बाद स्टिचेस देखने को मिले उसके बावजूद कमबैक किया स्टिचेस के साथ खेल रहे हैं और शानदार प्रदर्शन भी किया था जिम्बाब्वे के खिलाफ आज के मुकाबले में भी महत्वपूर्ण प्लेयर रहेंगे नेदरलैंड्स के लिए
डेफिनेटली आई मीन उसने कितना अच्छा प्रदर्शन किया लास्ट मैच में बास्केट में he had an injury. We all thought that even Sangeetko was. We all thought that he's not going to play. You know, they're quite nasty injury, and they didn't have enough time to recover. And that shows that how it means to him this World Cup. I mean, he really committed and determined to play this World Cup in perform. So, and he actually bowled pretty well. There are some restlessness on him when you have that kind of injury. He didn't feel 100% alright, but it didn't show when he played the game. And he had his best bowling, and he always contributed. So, and as this is their last game, so definitely he wanted to do. He is in best show today, and is a star performer. And though they don't play international cricket as many as the other teams, but these guys they play a lot of county cricket, the first class tournaments. So they knows about the situation, and they are quite experienced with playing in those those two tournaments, county and other tournaments. So and Basdili is a star performer, and he can actually give some hard time to other any. So yeah, for the Dutch team, he's part. He is very important. I'm pretty sure he's better than last game, and he will do something to them. I'm sure about that.
In the meanwhile, South Africa have won the toss and opted to bowl first. Kobus, we know you were itching to start talking about South African team, the one that you are actually rooting for from your heart. Of course, your supporters with the Netherlands as well, but South Africa is where your heart lies. Now, talking about the bowling attack, and we focus on the individual components of that attack. But first up, Andrik Norkia. Two fours for him. He's been bamboozling batting lineups with his pace.
Yes, no, he's been a great bowler for South Africa in this World Cup. His pace and I mean he's regularly hitting his straps with speeds above 150 kilometers an hour. And on those Australian bouncy wickets, he's been a handful for the opposing batsman. But he also, I think, in South Africa, it's very hard to single out one specific fast bowler. They're really hunting as a pack. I mean, there's the four of them. When they play all four, you've got Rabada with his pace, Nigidi, Norkia, and then you've got. I still say the key to that bowling attack for me, the glue, is still Wayne Parnell up front. Everybody talks about their tall, fast bowlers, but Wayne Parnell is doing a fantastic job. But obviously, Norkia, Every time he seems to come into bowl, he takes wickets. He goes for a few runs, but he's a real wicket taker for them in this World Cup. And that South African pack of fast bowlers is very much going to be, if they progress to the semi-final and hopefully to the final, that is going to be the key for them in this World Cup.
Interesting that it was accompanied by the prediction to be. But you mentioned about वेन पार्नेल now. हबीब आपकी प्रतिक्रिया उस पे लेना चाहूंगी. वेन पार्नेल लगातार बुक करते हैं अंडर द रेडार, कोई सुपरस्टार वाला उनके अराउंड इंटरेस्ट नहीं रहता, लेकिन लगातार टीम के लिए जो काम है वो करके दिखाते हैं. अर्ली ऑन स्विंग से काफी उन्होंने मदद निकाली है. हबीब. All right, then Kobus, we take your thoughts on Wayne Parnell and what his left arm angle could mean to this Netherlands lineup. We've seen them struggling against left armers.
Yeah, I'm looking at this South African team, and I see they're playing the extra batsman in Heinrich Klaasen is coming in, and then they've got David Miller is back. So incredibly strong batting lineup today. But they're bowling, yes, with the left arm against the Dutch batsman. But I still believe the Dutch batsmen are going to find the fast bowlers. That quartet of fast bowlers is going to be a handful for them. It's going to be difficult. And then also Maharaj is back again in place of Shamsi. So interesting looking South African side. But it's not going to be easy for the Dutch batsmen tonight, and I think that's why South Africa has chosen to. If I've got it correct, South Africa has chosen to bat first, to bowl first. Is that correct?
Indeed, South
Yes.
Africa to bowl
South
first.
Africa, yes. So they're going to have a full go at the Holland batsman on obviously again a bouncy, fast Australian wicket.
Bouncy, fast Australian wicket, something that would, of course, be of a source of huge excitement to the South African pacers. But about South African spinners now, Shamsi featured in the previous game, but in this game, it's Keshav Maharaj who makes his way back into the 11. शम्सी थोड़े एक्सपेंसिव रहे हैं पिछले कुछ मुकाबलों में जब उन्हें मौका मिला हो. महाराज के केस में एक चीज तो गारंटीड है कि वो लगातार जिस तरह से कंट्रोल दिखाते हैं, इकोनॉमिकल तो रहते ही हैं. तो ये जो बदलाव हुआ है उसको कैसे देखते हैं आप अभी? All right, then once again, Kobus, your reaction on the swap that has taken place as far as the spinners are concerned. The two bring in very different skill sets, all those spinners. In case of Shamsi, we see he targets wickets, while in case of Maharaj, it's his control. That's his USP.
Yeah, I think with this bowling attack that South Africa's got, um, they probably as I say, if they go through to the semis and the final, they're gonna probably Maharaj is gonna play more of a holding role, which is his job in the team, and I think we're gonna see him play the rest of this World Cup. Doing that holding job where the fast bowlers can run in and if they go for a few, Rabada has been quite expensive as well. But if they go for 8, 9 and over, but Maharaj can keep it down to 5, 6 and over in his 4 overs, it gives a good balance to that bowling side. And he also adds something to the team with his batting. He's a better batsman than Shamsi. He's actually a genuine all-rounder, and he just definitely adds something. He brings more stability, I think, to that South African side. It fits better in the balance of the side, and he knows his role in the team very well. I mean, he's a very smart cricketer. He is captain South Africa, and I do think we're going to see him for the rest of this World Cup. We'll see Maharaj in this team.
बिल्कुल सही कहा. Playing 11 पे नजर डालते हैं. The playing 11 of both the teams. Let's have a look at that. South African team, Bavuma was amongst runs in the previous game after a long lean patch, which also included injury. Quinton de Kock, Riley Rousseau, Aiden Markram, David Miller coming back into the 11 after legal that kept him away from the 11 in the previous game. Klassen also retains his place in the 11. Wayne Parnell, Keshav Maharaj is another change. Kagiso Rabada, Andrik Nortje, and Lungi Ngidi. Talking about the Netherlands now, of course, Stephen features there. Max O'Dowd, he's been doing so well for the team. Tom Cooper, Colin Ackerman. Now, in his case, barring that 62 against Bangladesh, runs have not been flowing from his bat in the Super 12. Bas elite Scott Edwards, his skipper, and of course, they were Demerv there, Logan Van Beek, Fred Klaassen, P. Van Meekeren, and Brendan Glover completing the 11 as far as the Netherlands are concerned. We'd once again discussed about South Africa and their 11. Now, as far as batting is concerned, and we saw this in case of Quinton de Kock particularly, that in the first two games he was very effective, very impactful, got some important runs. But in the last two games, it was binary digits that he returned with. He definitely would be hungry to leave an imprint on this crucial game.
Yes, absolutely. And interesting that you mentioned Heinrich Klaassen retained his place, and Tristan Stubbs has been dropped. He's been left out of the side today. But to get back to Quinton de Kock, he's that kind of cricketer, that he's a real fighter, and I think tonight, this bowling attack of the Dutch. They've also got the fast bowlers, tall fast bowlers. I'm thinking from Van Meekeren, Glover, Klaassen. So it's going to be a challenge to him. And on the Adelaide wicket is not as bouncy, for instance, as the Perth wicket, but it's still a hard, fast wicket and a very nice wicket to bat on, with the ball coming onto the bat, and it's going to suit Quinton de Kock and also Riley Rousseau's stroke play. So we could just see some fireworks from those two today. It will be interesting, and if they do get going, it's going to be really, really some fireworks in Adelaide tonight.
And particularly so true in case of Riley Russell, because we see, I mean, his last 10 scores, that includes two centuries, three ducks. So when he gets going, he goes hammer and talks. Habib, your thoughts on Riley Russell's performances so far?
Uh, I mean, he scored 100 and then he scored two games. But he is explosive batsman. I mean, after he become very strong. He is a kind of player when he gets going. He's not going to stop. I mean, he's not the kind of person who stay dust ball and taking skills. He go for it from the day with him ball. If he scores, he scores big. He is very important player. He is a match winner and he is a game changer. South Africa.
All right, then we'd reconnect with Habib, but in the meanwhile, we can move on to the other players as well and discuss about them. Now, in case of Klaassen, we discussed Cobus that he has retained his place in the 11 after the previous game, where he did put up a fight, where he did ensure that South Africa looked like a team that was intent on winning from a situation that was very difficult because the required run rate for the last 5 overs was around 14. Now, his career has been kind of stopgap. He's not had a lot of opportunities at the international level. It, of course, means a lot for him, each of these
Yeah.
opportunities.
Yes, I think also when you get to this business end, I like to call it, of the World Cup, when you start getting, I mean, today is effectively a quarterfinal match for South Africa. It's a must-win match, and then they will go into a semi-final. So at most, they've got 3 games left, and each one of these games are going to be huge. I mean, there's no more pressure than a World Cup semi-final and a final. And I think Heinrich de Kock, if you compare him with Stubbs at this stage, he brings a lot of experience. Stubbs is a fantastic player for the future, but he's young, very inexperienced, whereas Klaassen brings that old head into the team. He brings a lot of experience into the team, and he can be a devastating hitter with 4 5 overs left. He hits boundaries. He scores his runs in boundaries. And to me, I've always sort of, he's also a wicket keeper, and he is always for me sort of South Africa's the poor man's. If he would forgive me for calling him that, Bairstow. He plays a similar kind of game, obviously different player, but I would compare him a little bit to a South African Johnny Bairstow. He comes in and he plays some really, really big shots. likes to hit the ball straight down the ground. Very, very good on the short ball. So I think it definitely adds something to that batting lineup for hopefully the last three matches. I keep talking about the last three. I hope it's not the last one today.
I mean, you've been constantly issuing this disclaimer, but then at the end of the day, we know whether that holds any value or not. But on that note, let's move on to hear what Van der Merwe, rather read what Van der Merwe had to say ahead of the slash. Now, you mentioned that the shorter the format, the closer the teams get. I don't think there are as many, well, they can call them upsets. 10 years ago, so what he tries, the point that he's trying to make there is that 10 years back, there weren't as many upsets, quote unquote upsets, but you're seeing it happen more and more now, particularly in this tournament. It is being labeled as a tournament of upsets because teams are getting more clued up on how they want to prepare, what needs to be done to win games. It's something that has evolved over the last 10 years. Now, that's his thoughts on why more upsets are happening now. But we see that, like, as the currency, as the value of currency increases, the shorter the format, the gap between the teams, the gulf between the teams decreases. And Habib, obviously, in T20 we are seeing more upsets than say we'd see in Test because anyway, Test not you won't see top nations clashing against a C teams in Test. So or first class game for that matter. So then that leaves one days and T20s, and more so in T20s you see upsets happening. Habib.
It does. It does. Yes, it does. And these teams actually play this format more than other formats, and because they're playing more regularly now, they're creating more chances to win games against the top ranked team. In future, we'll see more. I think this kind of performance more and more. And in past these non-test playing nations doesn't get enough opportunity to play in international level. But because there's so many tournaments, the franchise tournaments, that the players are quite used to of these tournament formats now, and they're playing with the big boys regularly. So I think the performance we're seeing us these days from this non-playing test countries, time and time they'll come with better performance in future. I'm pretty sure about that because they got the opportunity now. Asia Game, and I think it's a good concept for ICC. Include four teams from non-test play side, and they are actually making this tournament more interesting. You can see that one lose from South Africa now not is still fighting for the same. Pakistan almost out after lost of one games. So you can see this these teams actually making this tournament very interesting.
And more so in Group 2, where each of the teams have at least 2 points to boast of, including the Netherlands. And that's not me rubbing in a message to Kobus, of course. And let's move on to Social Tracker, brought to you by Bad Bricks, and see the conversation happening around the games that are lined up for the day. So Pakistani fans have been pretty active ahead of the day, a busy Sunday ahead, and they'd be keeping a hawk's eye on each of the games. Whole Pakistan will first pray for the Netherlands, then for Pakistan, then for Zimbabwe. Well, too many prayers. One got to be focused with regards to prayers as well, and that's what the lineup looks like as far as the day is concerned. Apart from that, there's another tweet. Now, Pakistani schedule for today: wake up at 5 a.m., pray for Netherlands to defeat South Africa. At 9 a.m., pray for Bangladesh to lose against them. At 1 p.m., pray Zimbabwe to defeat India. And know what it's Sunday again. And you know what it's Sunday again. Now, that's quite a busy schedule for the Pakistani fans as well. And of course, there's a glimmer of hope for them. And that's why they'd be praying so much for all the results to fall their way. And that's what happens. Two narrow defeats for Pakistan, and now they're in a situation where they have to pray for various teams apart from their team, of course, which would be featuring in the game against Bangladesh. Now, let's have a look at our contest that we've been running constantly throughout the course of the tournament. What are the rules of the contest? ये काफी दिलचस्प कॉन्टेस्ट है, आपके पास मुकाबला है एक्साइटिंग हैम्पर्स जीतने का। सिंपल स्टेप है, पहला स्टेप ये है कि आपको प्रिडिक्ट करना है प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच आज के पहले मुकाबले साउथ अफ्रीका वर्सेस नेदरलैंड्स गेम का। और दूसरा स्टेप है हैशटैग बैड ब्रिक्स 7 का इस्तेमाल करना है। आपके पास अभी भी 10 मिनट है और हम अपने एक्सपर्ट से भी राय लेंगे ताकि आपके लिए आसान हो जाए ये निर्णय करना कि आपका कौन सा फेवरेट प्लेयर आपको लगता है कि वो प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच बनेगा कि नहीं. So quickly, Habib, your thoughts on who's the player who'd step up today on this very crucial game?
Not yet.
Yeah.
South African fast bowler Henry not yet.
All right. Interesting.
I think because the South African bowling first,
Hmm.
my guess they will not allow Netherlands to score big runs. So it will be one of the bowlers who will be the player of the match today.
All right. Ngidi might feel missed out considering how good he has been with the slower ones. Kovas, does he have your support?
Yes, to an extent. Although I'm going to go again for Wayne Parnell with a left-hand armour to the Dutch batsman. I think early up in the power play, he's going to play a big role, and I back him to take at least 2 wickets today, probably three.
All right, then bowlers are garnering all the support, and I'd request my producer to vote on my behalf for David Miller, considering how important he has been for the South African team for quite some time now. And then we move on to the poll, which we've been running again throughout the course of the tournament. Today's first poll is about this clash, of course. Will South Africa qualify for the semis? 82% believe that's possible, and that 82% also includes, of course, Cobus. And 18% say no. Habib, are you a part of that 18% that is saying no to South Africa's qualification?
Definitely, I at least they Netherlands have got 18%, and if they can manage to win from that 18%, it will definitely. I mean, there's slim chances for Bangladesh. I mean, they have to go through a lot of equation. But when you play a game, you need that if South Africa want to, basically Bangladesh will have. I mean, yeah, no chances. So obviously, I'll be in that 18%, so that. So
Habib
I
woke up.
hope Netherlands can manage.
Well, Habib woke up and chose violence today. All right, then, on that exciting note, we shall call this conversation a close because the match action is not too far away. One that Kobus is waiting for with bated breath. We hope it is a cracker of a contest. It turns out to be a cracker of a contest, and it turns out to be a super Sunday as it is built to be. We'll be back again after the game has concluded, and we'll be back also with the preview of Pakistan versus Bangladesh clash. As of now, thank you for joining.